Hello and welcome to Conscious.
We are doing some ASMR because our mics work today.
Yes, finally, we're taking advantage. We're living in the present moment. I wish I had a gong. Boing.
Yeah, that'd be.
We,
That's okay.
dude, I would be so down to do a meditation episode, but I might get made fun of.
We should.
But that's
Who
okay.
cares?
We're on a
Yeah,
floating rock,
yeah,
hurling through
yes,
space. Why the heck not?
exactly.
Okay, so
All right.
if you're watching this on YouTube instead of listening, as you can tell, Val and I, we're figuring out volume with our new haircuts. And
Mm-hmm.
when I came on, I kid you not, my hair was like out to here. I looked like a freaking lion. And I was like, bro, what is this? And she was like, what is this?
Yes, I look like
So
my
I had to throw my
grandma.
hair
Oh my
up because
gosh.
I just like, we needed to balance it out.
Yes, we're learning
It's
how to
okay.
do our hair again.
We'll figure it out.
We're doing a big transition here.
Yeah.
We're figuring out who we are with
I
this
believe
hair.
in us. We got this.
Oh,
Just
I
give us
believe
like
in
a
us
month.
too. Yes, straight up.
Okay. Well, welcome to Conscious Comadres. If you're new here, my name is Jenny.
And I'm Val. No, I'm so serious. I was like, I'm back. um,
And as we've mentioned in previous episodes, we are doing a little bit of filming in batches and kind of like building up a vault of content so that we can live our lives and edit and post and do all the things without having to feel overwhelmed.
mhm.
However, today, the day that we're filming this is April 27th, and I wanted to give Val her flowers because today you're like,
Me?
Today, Val uploaded an awesome video. Val, you're the way you're reacting, like as if you got like a Grammy. You're like, I'd like to thank the little people. No, but seriously, on a serious note, we gotta focus. No, I
Yeah.
seriously wanted to give Val her flowers because today she posted a really cool interview on her other channel, her other podcast, Deep Naked Thoughts, with Austin Trout. Dude, oh my God. I'm so excited for you. How do you feel?
How do I feel? It was so nerve-wracking. Actually, you guys, that day our audio failed. He was so ready, so prepared. He's like, "Dun, dun, 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 dun," and then I'm showing up. I'm a mess. My audio's not working. I'm killing the hype. He's like, "Do you hear me?" And I'm like, "No, do you hear me?" And he's all, "No." And I'm just like, I'm killing this man's vibe. Like the vibe was up here and the audio brought it down here. My husband had to step in and help us and then it worked. But then afterwards, I feel like I was so psyched out. I was like, "Oh my God, he thinks I'm unprofessional. He's like this amateur or this rookie." And then he was just so sweet about it. Actually, shout out to Austin Trout because he was such a sweet. He's like, "It's okay. Technology happens. It's fine." And I was like, thanks. I was just taking it like a
Yeah.
champ. I was like,
That's awesome.
so,
Dude,
yeah.
I don't think you realize though, like how, like, I don't know, how hyped he was too. And like, he probably didn't even think of it as anything. Cause at the end, so I watched the video. I went to the gym today and I watched the video while I was working out. And at the end, he was asking you like what advice you would give or like basically like how you would write a book about like psychology in the combat world. And I was like,
Mhm.
is this man trying to like write a book with my best friend? Because y'all need to do it. Y'all need to do it. Like that's so cool. So I don't know. We're manifesting that, okay? I
Okay,
want
we're
an
gonna
Austin
manifest
Trout
this.
and Valeria
Okay,
Osoyo book.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Yes.
Let's manifest out loud that this man really does write a book for everyone. Everyone needs this
Yes.
book, and I will help. I will. It takes, what is
Yes.
it? It takes a team, it takes a village. Okay, down.
It does. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, okay. What are we here for today? What are we talking about, Val?
Today, we are going to talk about all of the places that Jenny and I have lived. And I think we still need to do a separate episode on Florida and Florida Man. But today, we're going to talk about all of the places Jenny and I have been and then kind of where we met in Las Cruces. And,
Yeah.
this takes off. And then 10 years later, we're podcasters. So, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, like, the original idea for this episode, and I definitely would love to do just, like, a Florida-based video, because there's, like, endless things to talk about there. But, Val wanted to, like, interview me and talk to me about, like, what my experiences were like while living in Florida. And then this week, as we were trying to figure out what we wanted to record for our next episode, I was like, you know what? Like, why don't we just overall kind of talk about how we grew up, all the places that we've lived? Because Val and I have both been lucky enough to have lived in like more than like 3 places.
Yeah.
So just drawing from those experiences, reminiscing, talking about super specific things to those places. If you're from any of these places, definitely drop a comment below. Let us know what your experiences have been like and just like relate with us in the comments because we love to hear about your guys' experiences as well. So, without further ado, do you have anything before we go ahead and dive in?
No, I'm ready. Let's do
Okay.
this.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to do something a little different with the notes because usually I just pull up the screen and it's like it's just the notes in front of me, and then I can't see Val's facial expressions, and then I feel bad because I'll look back in editing, and Val's, like, raising her hand trying to say stuff. So I'm gonna put it right beside her. That way I can see both. Okay, let's see here. Technology, we love it. Okay, cool. All right. So I want to start off with Val. So Val
Oh
grew up
man.
in
Okay.
Veracruz. Well, actually,
Yes.
tell us where you were born. Like, tell us
Yes.
your whole little origin story in a
Oh
nutshell.
my gosh. Okay. So I've lived in a few places in Mexico. Actually, I had to call my mom before this interview. I'm like, Mom, where have I lived? Where have
Where
we
did I
been?
live?
I was like, where did I live? Yeah. So we've compiled a good little list. She gave me a list. So I'm like, Mom, thanks. Shout out to all the moms for remembering. But I was born in Las Cruces, New Mexico. My grandparents had some of their kids in Mexico and some of their kids in the US. They kind of just went back and forth from the border because my grandma, she would like go get things from El Paso, then come back. And like they kind of sometimes lived in El Paso and then sometimes moved back. So they have some of their kids in Texas and some of their kids in Mexico. So my dad's a US citizen, and then they were living in Las Cruces when they had me. And then afterwards, they like were figuring out their lives. This actually gives me so much more grace and compassion for myself because I'm like, if they were figuring out their life when they had me, I am
Yeah.
doing fine, doing great. But we were living in Las Cruces. I was born in Las Cruces, and then they moved back to Mexico. And my
Mhm.
dad was an architect. So he designed buildings, was there for like kind of like construction site kind of like overview, kind of like a manager. But mostly he worked like kind of like resorts. So they would like
Oh,
open up a place and then they would build it. He would sketch it, he'd be there. And then after the completion, it was kind of like a contract. He's like, well, I got to find another job. So it was kind of
yeah.
like we were just job hopping, going from job to job. And sometimes the job would last a year, sometimes 2 years, sometimes 6 months. And that's kind of what took us around Mexico. And that's how I was able to live in these different places from like back to back to back at an early
Mhm.
age. So I'm born in Las Cruces, New Mexico. We go back to Mexico City. And then after that, we lived in Puebla, Mexico. So if you think Cinco de Mayo, the Battle of Puebla, that's where that's at.
Okay.
Then we lived in Veracruz, and that's kind of where like consciousness happens. That's where I like, I live here and I'm experiencing
I'm a
this.
human.
So I'm a human. I can say no. I'm like, yeah. So then we lived in Veracruz, and then we moved back to Mexico City. And then my mom found out she was pregnant, and then we came back to El Paso. And then my brother was born. Then we lived in Lubbock, Texas, and then
What?
Albuquerque. Yes,
I did
dude,
not
I know.
know
So I'm
that.
like,
That's
dude,
crazy.
I know. So, yes. So I'm like, if I ever think I don't have it together, I'm like, my parents did not. They were not. They did not. So I'm like, I feel a little bit better. And then afterwards, when my grandfather died, we moved back to Mexico. My grandmother was alone in Mexico. So my dad kind of like stepped in and we lived there for a little bit, and then we just ultimately decided to move back, and then we kind of were just kind of passing around my grandma. She was temporarily living with everyone. So yeah, that was
Yeah.
crazy.
Okay.
Wow.
That
Yeah.
is, I didn't even realize that you lived in all those places, but I mean, obviously you don't remember them, so we're probably not gonna cover like Lubbock, but that's crazy.
No.
I like really didn't know. Okay, so and then remind me, how long did you live there? I think you just said it, but I'm sorry. Oh, I'm processing.
No, Veracruz, definitely, I would say like a year and a half, because some of these jobs, that's
Okay.
how long they lasted for. So about a year and a half, and then we'd like go back to Mexico City, and then my dad would get a job, and then we'd move there, or maybe sometimes my dad would go by himself, and then like we'd just visit. But
Okay.
Veracruz was about a year or two, and I feel like that was the place that I remember the most, and probably the place that I loved the most for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And what was the oldest age you were when you lived there? Because it sounds like there was like a lot of back and forth between there.
Yeah, so I definitely remember living in Mexico up to the age of like 8 years old. So
Got it.
like I was
Okay.
there for, yeah, for like a few years, and then I remember turning 9 years old, being in the third grade in the States. So like I remember that being like a
Okay.
pivotal time of like, okay, I'm like in a new place. I'm having a birthday in a different spot, and I'm
Uh-huh.
9 and I'm in third grade. And that's when, yeah, that's when we moved here for good. And after that we just didn't move for a while. Like we were there for 20 years. Yeah.
They were like,
Yeah.
"Okay, we figured it out. We like
We
where
figured
we're
it
at
out.
now."
Yeah.
That's good though. I feel like even though your parents were kind of figuring out where they wanted to go, they tested it out. You know what I mean? And like
Mhm.
that's better than just like going to one place and just being like, yeah, I guess it's good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to go back into your like personal side of this, but I do want
Okay.
to talk a little bit about Veracruz and what it's known for. If I mess anything up,
Yes.
just let me know, correct me. Veracruz is a massive port city. So it is
Mhm.
one of the cities that is right next to the Gulf of Mexico.
Mhm.
There it is famous for its culinary experiences. So, and also don't
Mhm.
make fun of my pronunciation. Not Val. Val would never. But if you're listening to this, just give me grace. Okay, huachinango. Is that how you say it? A la veracruzana.
Oh, I've heard that.
That's
A la
a
veracruzana.
it's
Yeah.
it's a red sauce snapper. So it's like a fish. And there's other recipes. I don't know. Do you remember like any specific recipes that are like specific to Veracruz?
Yeah, so one time, well, I don't want to say specific, but I do remember I grew up drinking a lot of fresh coconut water, a lot of just tropical fruit, mangoes, coconuts, fish, shrimp, just a lot of fresh food. And I think this is very comparable to like California. Whenever you're on the coast, they have a lot of fish tacos, a lot of shrimp
Yeah.
cocktail. It's very coastal. So that's what Veracruz reminds me of, but like, but on a budget.
Yeah.
California is very expensive, I think. For like, yeah, I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, but just different type of cuisine, definitely a lot fresher. The people, I think this is true to like anyone that lives near a coast, whether it's like Japan or like California or Washington. But I think places that eat a lot of seafood, Italy, they tend to be healthier, but people there would ride their bike or their skateboard, or like, I just feel like life there was just beautiful. Like everyone there was just beautiful. I'm like, wow, I love it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of, the way you describe it, I envision kind of like Miami. Like everyone's
Mhm.
tan and like
Oh,
everyone's at the
yes.
beach and like they're in their
Yes.
bikinis and they're just like having a good
Yes.
time and like relaxed, you know? That's like kind of what
Oh,
I
yes.
picture. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I
People
want
were
to go. We
playing
need to go.
volleyball by the beach. Yes, I was just like, this is a vibe. It was definitely my favorite place. Women, they wear dresses, shorts. Like it was just, I was like, I love it. This is it.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
I didn't
need to
want to leave.
manifest
That
a
was my
trip.
favorite place. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I want to take Troy there.
Let's do
I
it.
do. Okay. Okay.
And then we'll film
Okay.
an episode there. There we go.
Okay. That they
All
have
right.
Mayan pyramids there. The Mayans are from there.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's all kinds of cool stuff there. Well, one thing that I found in my research, and I don't know if you remember anything about this or if you went there whenever you lived there, they have an annual carnival. It's literally just called
Mm.
Carnaval de Veracruz, one
Mhm.
of Latin America's biggest street festivals. And then
Mm.
I also found that there's a very rich Afro mestizo music vibe or music
Yes.
scene, I should say.
Yes.
So again, I might mess up the pronunciation, but I just have in parentheses here son, jarocho, and fandango. So I don't know if you
Mhm.
have any thoughts on that.
Yes. So Actually, I think like when I first was listening to like Spanish music, and I won't say like Spanish, like Spaniard, like Spain or Mexican, but like just music, it was a lot of drum, and those drums come from
Mhm.
Africa.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of mixing of cultures. Like you see a lot of very Caucasian people, but it's from descendants of Spaniards and like Spain and Spanish
Yeah.
influence. But then you also see a lot of darker skinned people, and also, please don't come for me, okay? Like, what is it? The PC culture. In Mexico, the culture around skin, like, they will just call you what you are. They're like blanca or negra or
Mhm.
morena, or like, they're just like, it's like different and the relationship that they have with
Yeah.
race. But that was one of the slave routes. The Spanish did like bring slaves, and a lot of them they came through that port because it was a major
Mhm.
port, and the culture stayed, the music stayed, the drums, like a lot of that like influence. So yeah, like I was just so in love. But you saw the girls like dancing on the beach just to like drums. And if you can think Shakira, if you can think of like
Mm.
Hips Don't Lie, it's kind of like a lot of that drum. Versus when I
Yeah.
lived in Mexico City, and the city culture, it was like very punk, very rock, very, very different.
Pop.
Versus
Yeah.
when you move up to like the north, like Juarez, it's a lot of norteño, it's a lot of that country, but
Yeah.
Spanish, like a grupo, what is it? A grupo
Grupo Frontera.
Frontera.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so different, different
Yes.
sounds for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
actually,
love the beats.
this kind of reminds me of a conversation that Val and I had a while back because I was trying to get more variety in my Spanish music selection because whenever I first put my Spanish music playlist together, I kind of just put like the things that I knew and loved, like the cumbias that my mom raised me on, or like Alejandro Fernandez and, things like that. And then I was asking Val for recommendations, and she was like, well, I kind of just grew up listening to like Spanish rock. But she gave me a lot of wonderful recommendations. So I added quite a few to my playlist. And then we got on the topic of like, what is it called? Banda music and like norteños. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually didn't realize how it's considered like the Spanish country, quote unquote,
Oh yeah, yeah.
because of I don't know, like I guess there's just kind of like a stigma, and it makes sense. I feel like in America it's the same thing. Everybody's like, "Oh, I hate
Mm-hmm.
not everybody, but there's quite a few people who will be like, "I hate
Yeah.
country. Like it's just so annoying." And I'm just like, "It's
Or it's
I
like
love
hick,
country."
kind of. I like country
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I just yes, I get it. I think it is a little goofy, like, there's some songs where I'm just like, "What are we listening to?" But I like the
Mm-hmm.
simplicity of it. I love how it's just so wholesome, it's so positive for the most part, and it's just a guy being like, "Yep, I just need my woman and a beer." And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
he just likes the simple things in life.
Yeah.
And then I guess banda, I mean, I'm not really sure why it's considered that, like, I guess stigmatized. I know my stepdad, my stepdad, he says that it reminds him of like circus music. I really
Mm-hmm.
like it though. I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe you have a little more
Well,
insight on that.
yeah, I actually did some research. I was like, let me see. So that sound actually comes from like German polka. So like
Yeah.
there was a big influence on like German migration, and a lot of them like either they stayed like near the border where like Texas, Arizona, or like they moved towards Mexico. And when you move towards the border, you're gonna hit Juarez because that's like the first city.
Hmm.
So that's where a lot of that sound stayed. And like you take country like Texas and you like Mexico, it's like a different like instead of like southern twang, it's like Mexico twang. And then like they
Yeah.
have that polka. It's that polka sound. So I think I've learned to grow into it and like it, but it's not like a sound that I grew up listening to.
Yeah.
But
Well, and then it's
yeah.
funny too, because I feel like corridos are kind of similar, not in the sense where they're talking about like the simple things in life, but it's more so like telling a story. And a lot of times it's like a really
Mhm.
funny story, or a lot of times it's a really crazy story because it could be like a narco corrido. And they'll be talking about like
Yeah.
some guy like smuggling drugs across the United States or something, or like, we recently, if you haven't seen our telenovela episode, at the time we're filming this, it's a few episodes back. I don't know when we're going to upload this, but we talked about La Reina del Sur, and that's
Yeah.
literally the theme song. It's like a narco corrido, and they're like talking about the main character, Teresa Mendoza, and how she became like part of the cartel. So it's just like funny to kind of see some similarities in that aspect. But okay, got a
Yeah.
little off track there. Let's
Yeah.
bring it back to Veracruz. We already talked about how many years you've lived there and some of your
Mhm.
experiences. I do want to talk a little bit about just differences between like the desert life, since that's where we lived
Mhm.
in Las Cruces, and
Mhm.
Veracruz. So, things like the heat, the sound of the ocean, market visits, things like that.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so yeah, I would say like when I did so a lot of my early memories do come from like living in the US, like living with my aunts, with my cousins, like it's kind of seeing them, but not actually having like a point of reference. Like I can't go YouTube it, I can't go Google it. Like I'm 6 years old, like that's before even like phones were as good as they
Yeah.
are. But my parents were like, "Yeah, we're gonna move back to the States." And all I have is like Disney references or like Disney movies. And so I'm thinking
Oh.
like Los Angeles. I'm thinking Palm Streets,
You're
what is
like,
it?
I'm gonna be a
Palm trees.
star.
Yes, I'm just like, we're gonna go to Hollywood. Yes. And so then we
Gringolandia.
moved. Yes. And then we moved here and we got to Las Cruces, New Mexico. And I was like so shocked because I'd been in like a super tropical place. I'm near the shore, I'm near the water, I have fresh food. That's also like one of the things, like super fresh seafood available,
Mhm.
dancing everywhere on the streets, on the beach, just like music everywhere. And then same thing with Mexico, like super metropolitan area, like just the city, different culture, didn't really love it, but I'm like, okay, like I know what like a big city is like. And then we moved
Yeah.
to a little small town in a desert. And I remember I'm like, when is it gonna rain? I'm like, are we in a drought? Like what is going on? I was like, why
That
are we
sucks.
here? And then I
Yeah,
remember vividly
one day a
asking, I'm
year.
like, so when are we Yes, I'm like, "When are we moving back?" And they're like, "No, we're not moving." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?" And so,
Oh,
yeah, 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 that was
wow.
crazy.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
so I want to wrap this up with a little bow. What would you say,
Uh-huh.
like, what pros and cons are there to living in Veracruz? And if you were to give it a rating, like, oh, like however many out of 10,
Mm,
based on overall vibes, how would you rate it?
I would say a 10 out of 10 because you get like Mayan pyramids, you get like old
History.
historical colonial like Spanish buildings, you
Mhm.
get indigenous culture, like indigenous food, like the tamales, the pozole, but then you get Afro culture in that mix, and then you get the Spanish food, you get the Spanish culture, so you got like boom, boom, boom. In the nature, the beauty, the climate, like if you like tropical weather, because I know that's not for everyone. I like the
Mhm.
tropical weather. Do you feel like moist? Like, do you feel like you might be sweating? Maybe. I am okay with it. What else? The music, I would just say it's 10 out of 10 on a budget. It just depends, like if you're an American living there or if you got it like that, then you should live there. If you don't, I mean, it just depends.
Yeah.
But I would say it's 10 out of 10. It's definitely extremely beautiful and safe
Okay.
and safe.
Any cons
Yes.
or
Any cons? Yeah, the cons is that the architecture is older. Like some of the buildings are already built. So,
Mhm.
like for example, I've heard this comparison, for example, in Emily in Paris, like her apartment, like what is
Oh
it?
yeah.
The sewage or like the drainage, what's it called? The
Like the
infrastructure, like
plumbing?
the pipes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's extremely old. And it's the same way in older cities like New York, like the plumbing, like it's just old. So a lot of the stuff, it's not that it's just like an old city. Well, it is an old city,
Yeah.
but it's just
Yeah.
there's so much history that some of the things haven't updated, mostly the infrastructure. But that's not to say that it's like that everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, that's what I got to say about
Okay.
Veracruz. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Well, so from here on out, Val and I are gonna take turns. Now I'm gonna tell you about
Mm-hmm.
one place that I lived, and then we're just gonna kind of go back and forth. I was also born in Las Cruces. Wait, that's where you said? Sorry. I feel like I've
Yes,
asked you this
yeah,
5 million times. I should know this. You're my
yes.
best friend.
No, you're good, but I'm like, out of all the places you guys were moving to, like, Las Cruces. It's
You're like,
okay.
that's not
It's
very
okay.
unique. It is though. And we'll talk about that at the end because as I reflect on where I'm from, I forget how unique of a place it is. And yeah, we'll talk about that. So, like I said, I was born in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Just to kind of give you guys a little backstory on my family, my mom is originally from a small town. Well, she was born in El Paso, but she lived in a small town called Chamberino, New Mexico, which is what we're going to talk about. My dad is from South Bend, Indiana. And my parents, they decided to join the Navy. And that is how they met. They were both stationed at Virginia Beach. And my dad basically knew my mom through work. And then one day, whenever he was in her office, because she was doing like clerical work and stuff like that, he saw her in makeup and he was like, Officer Martinez? So, well, petty officer is like what she was called. So, yeah, anyways, that's how they met. And then after a few years living in Virginia Beach, they ended up moving to Michigan, Three Rivers, Michigan, which I want to say is about like an hour, maybe 2 hours away from South Bend, Indiana. That's where my dad was stationed for a little bit, and that's where my older brother was born. And then my mom, she was basically like the main caretaker for my brother. She ended up just being a stay-at-home mom for a little bit, and then she decided to go back to work because she was really lonely. Since they were so far away from my dad's family, they were not able to like visit each other all the time. And so my mom started getting really homesick, really lonely. It's super cold in Michigan and she wasn't used to it. And so even after trying to go back to work, it just like wasn't working out for her. So she asked him if he would be willing to move back to her hometown, and he said yes.
Mm.
So they moved to Chamberino. Chamberino is a very small town. I looked
Mhm.
up the current population and I think it's actually decreased since the last time I looked it up.
My
The
God.
current population is 736 people.
Oh my
So
gosh. That's
literally so tiny. And so tiny that I was born in the hospital in Las Cruces. So Las Cruces is about 35 minutes away from Chamberino. Chamberino
Mhm.
is known as it's like an unincorporated community, so there's a lot of farmland there. So if you've ever
Mhm.
driven from Las Cruces to El Paso, there's like a main freeway that you'll take. I believe it's I-10. And then you'll see like a lot of farmland. And then you basically have to go off of one of like the random exits and then you go like deeper into the farmland. So there's a lot of cotton that's grown there. I know for sure there's cornfields, there's a lot of onion fields. And yeah, so that's kind of like the gist of where I lived. And if you're curious about how close it is to El Paso, because I know that's the bigger city that a lot of people are more familiar with, it's about 36 minutes away from El Paso. Yeah, lot. And then there's also like chili and pecan farms there too. So
Mhm. Yeah.
it is pretty close to the Rio Grande, but I feel like Las Cruces and Mesilla are a little bit closer than Chamberino is, but there's really nothing to do. Like I wouldn't even say there's like hiking or anything. There's no trails. All there is to do is like go to church, which I have very, fond memories of San Luis Rey Church. I will do my best to find pictures. I was trying to do some research to find pictures and post them throughout this video. But it was hard because there's just not
Mm.
much there. It's this really, really tiny church. Looks like it was, built in actual Mexico, just like the way that the architecture is. They have a little salon right next to it, and it does not have any air conditioning. It just has like bars on the tops of the windows so you can let the breeze in. And they actually do this really cool festival every year to honor the saint that the church is named after. And they do it in August. And it's so cool because they'll have a lot of Native American dancers participate in it. And I find that
Mhm.
super intriguing because it's like it's Catholicism, but like we're still
Mm.
like honoring our Native American roots.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I just think that's super cool. It was a very, or it still is a very big event in that community. My tias, they're not my direct tias. They're more like a second cousin because they're cousins to my mom. They were very well known for like doing so much for that fiesta, and they would make like candied apples and they would make like aguas frescas to sell
Mm.
at the event. There was always like one specific family that would sell gorditas, one specific family that would sell hamburgers, and it was just a fun time. And then my grandma, she would have her own booth and she would do like loteria in her booth, and then she would give away little
Mm.
prizes for whoever won loteria. So yeah,
Mm.
super fun. And whenever I was living there, so I would say I left when I was like 8 years old. That's whenever I moved to
Mm,
Las Cruces. So I spent a pretty good chunk of my childhood there. I lived in a mobile home on a very big piece of land. I want to say it was about an acre, maybe an acre and a half. So I was always playing outside, or I would be playing like on my Nintendo 64 with my brother. Lots of beautiful, wonderful memories, and I wouldn't change it for the world. So pros and cons. I would say if you were to ever live there now, definitely low rent. I mean, there's no apartments there or anything like that, but I'm sure the land is pretty affordable. And you could also just like put a mobile home on it or something like that if you want to. Very close knit community. That might be a con though, because like everyone's all up in each other's business. All the comadres know each other.
mm,
But there's easy access to nature, and it is really peaceful and quiet because of how far away you are from civilization. Cons, limited nightlife slash restaurant options, long drive to larger services. I remember that being kind of a pain in the butt. Like if we ever wanted to go grocery shopping, we would have to make like a really big use out of it and like get like a lot of groceries because we weren't able to go into Cruces as often
mm,
because of how far it was. I will say though, even though there's not as many nightlife options, there are a few new places that have been opened since I have, left New Mexico. So there's a brewery called Public House 28 Brewery. And then there's also a vineyard that's called Sombra Antigua Winery. So if you're ever in the area, definitely go by there. It's going to be like very, very small town vibes, just so you know. But I am very proud of being from there. And I don't know if it'll ever grow, but I think it's a cool, unique experience. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
dang.
So
Very cool.
as we move to our next one, we're going to talk about Las Cruces because that's kind of like picking up on both of Val and I's stories. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I moved to Las Cruces when I was 8. Val turned 9 when she moved to Las Cruces. And so we're going to talk a little bit about just Las Cruces things. This might be like our longest segment. I'm kind of excited because I have a
Me
lot of things I
too.
want to
Me
talk about.
too.
So, Las Cruces, it is known for quite a few things. New Mexico State University is one of them. That is where Val and I went to college. It is known for the beautiful Organ Mountains. In my opinion, I think they're the most beautiful mountains in the world. I know I'm biased, but like if you ever look up a picture, and we will pop that up on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely gorgeous. Lots of great hiking places. About an hour away from Las Cruces, we got White Sands Missile Range. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful place to go to as well for, your national park needs. A lot of Wild West references and history there. So, if you have not seen our Halloween episode, Val and I talk quite extensively about some of the haunted history of Las Cruces
Mm-hmm.
and Old Mesilla. So you should definitely look at that. And I know we do want to do a future episode on Billy the Kid because he was almost hung in Old Mesilla, which is like 15 minutes away from Las Cruces. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to let Val talk for a little bit and then we'll get into some of the more niche things about Las Cruces.
Dang. Well, I didn't know a lot of this stuff about you. I'm just like, wow. I'm like learning about you right now. Yes, Chamberino has gotten way better. Actually, on our second date, like my husband and I had to drive through Chamberino because now there's like this super cool,
Oh.
nice dirt road, and I thought of you. And then on my way back, I was Snapchatting Jenny. I might have called you, I'm not sure, but it was late and I was driving like back through Chamberino and I was just like, how fitting is it? I was just all meant to be. I'm like, all the pieces are lining up. I'm like my best friend from Chamberino. And then I called her and I met the love of my life. I'm like, it was just okay. Anyway, yeah. Okay, Las Cruces. Las Cruces. I can think of we get a lot of dust bowl. Is it the dust bowl? We get a lot of
Yeah.
storms. Have you guys seen
Yes.
Interstellar where like there's like this crazy dust storm? I'm like, it'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, especially right now in the
Yeah.
spring. Like people will take a
Yes.
picture and you can't even see the mountains. That's how much dust is like
Yeah.
floating in the air.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. But let's see. Let's see. Culture, 10 out of 10. I'm biased. Food, 10 out of 10. People, 9 out of 10, just kidding.
5 out of 10 sometimes,
5 out of 10.
honestly. And not all
No,
the
imagine
time,
they're
not all the time.
not all the time. No, but I will say people are very kind. They're very nice. I remember somebody at
Mhm.
work, they're like, "Are you always this nice?" And I was like, "Yeah." This is here in Washington, by the way. And they're like, "Oh, they're like, you're not from here, huh?" Actually, this lady was from Texas. And I was like, "No, I'm not.
Oh.
How can you tell?" And she's like, "Because people aren't like that here." And I was like,
She's like, "I'm actually enjoying this conversation." That's why.
Yeah, but I will
That's
say,
funny.
yeah, I will say, I was telling Jenny that sometimes when I get
Oh,
homesick, I just want somebody to call me mija or mijo, or you'd go to the
yeah.
gas station and be like, "Here you go, mija," or "Do you want salsa?" Like they'll be like, "Daughter," like that's what mijo
Yes.
or mija means, like my daughter, my son. It's kind of, I think it's the same way in the South. Like do you need
Yeah.
ketchup with that, son, or like, can I get you something else, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
Sweetheart.
like, I just need to be sweetheart. I'm like, I just need to be somebody else's daughter. Can somebody call me mijo or mija, please?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I do need to be
But
called Mija.
yeah, but what else? I know Jenny has a few events that Las Cruces, is that what we are?
Yes. Yeah, just in general, the culture. Okay, so a few things that we New Mexicans and especially people from Las Cruces experience that is very different and unique from the rest of the United States. So, on New Year's Eve, we don't have a ball drop like New
Mm-mm.
York, okay? We have a chili drop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's like a thing in Las Cruces where you can go. I think it's usually held downtown. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And they will have like a little chili sign, I guess. Have you ever been there to that event?
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Do you want me
actually
to tell it?
that's a funny story. Well, no, I was just gonna say because whenever I was in college and I was kind of in that weird transition where you are like allowed to leave the house because you're 18, like you're an adult, but you also live
Mm-hmm.
under your parents' house. So like you gotta
Mm-hmm.
be careful about how much information you give them. And one year I wanted to go out partying with my cousin. And I told my mom,
Mm-hmm.
I lied to her and I said that I was going to the chili drop. And then whenever I woke up the next day, she was like, "So, what color was the chili?" And I was like, "It was both." Like it was like flashed red and green. And I didn't know that like that was a thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
every year it's different. And she was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Interesting." And then like later on I saw in the newspaper it said it was like red and I was like, "Dang it." But again, I was an adult, so like it didn't matter, but she was just like, "Interesting." So yeah, you tell me about it cuz I've never been to the event.
Yeah, that's actually our state question. We have a state question and it's red or green, but it refers to if you want red or green chili, red enchiladas or green
Mhm.
enchiladas. But yes, I guess the last few years that I was in Las Cruces, I feel like I really embraced it and I did everything. Like I don't know, I feel like I could have been like a little tour guide. But yes, I went to the chili drop and it's so much fun. Like lots of businesses go, they promote their art. Like, just it's just I don't know how to explain it. You just see entrepreneurs. It's like something that I
Mhm.
feel like really passionate about, but booths, kind of like how Jenny was saying, just booths and art and food and like salsas and
Community.
like community. Yeah, dancing. Like it just, man, I loved it so much. And yeah, at midnight, like there would be like a chili drop and they'd be playing music, live music, bands, DJing, all kinds of stuff. And then we all just wait to see like what color the chili's gonna be. I don't know because I haven't been there in a minute, but the last time I was there
Yeah.
was like green, and it's cool. Like it's fun. That was one of the really
Yeah.
cool ones for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then outside of Las Cruces, we also have the balloon fiesta. So that one is very
Mhm.
notorious. A lot of people
Mhm.
from all over the country fly into Albuquerque to go to that. I actually want to go to that. I've never been, but I have flown in a hot air balloon before, which I
Mhm.
have the picture of it. I will post it here. But that was just like my dad had a friend who knew, like she had connections.
Mm.
So yeah, that's really cool. One fiesta that I wish we still had. I'm so sad that it's not a thing anymore. And this is not going to sound real, you guys, but I will post pictures. I have proof, okay? We used to have a fiesta called the whole enchilada fiesta, and it was the world's largest enchilada. And there is a man who lives in Las Cruces. I don't know if he's still with us anymore. If he is, I love you, man. But his name is Roberto, and he has a restaurant in Las Cruces. And he took on the challenge of making the world's largest enchilada. And so
Mm,
they would turn it into a whole weekend event. There would be,
mm,
lots of booths, lots of like kind of carnival type things going on. So there would be like turkey legs, and there would be like elote en vaso. There would be food trucks. There would be like
mhm,
places to dance. There would be concerts. There would be like local artists. I don't know
mm.
if she's still making music, but I know Bagwell was one of the artists who performed there. And then actually, I'm going to ask my mom to go digging for this picture, but War came. So for those who don't know who War is, because I know we might have a younger audience, War is the band that sings Lowrider, like from the George Lopez show. They
Oh,
also sing like, Why Can't We Be Friends? Why Can't We
mm,
Be Friends? So my stepdad, he was actually one of the photographers of this event. So he would just go around random places to see like what people were doing throughout the entire fiesta, and he would take pictures and then they would post them in the newspaper. And because he had access to like a lot of the backstage things, I was able to meet the lead singer of War. His name's Lonnie. So that's really cool. That was at 13 years old. And yeah, I don't know. I miss it so much. I think it was like such a cool, unique thing that Las Cruces had. And then other than that, I mean, other like New Mexico specific things, New Mexico is now becoming a booming filming industry. Obviously, we've had,
mhm.
Breaking Bad from, back in the but even then there's a lot of movies. I think there's actually a new movie that's being filmed there right now with Anthony Mack or Mackie. He was one of the Captain Americas. And then obviously we have like really beautiful and unique places like Santa Fe, Roswell, which we've mentioned in previous episodes before. So, any thoughts on that before we move on, Val?
Yes, Jenny. Yes. What else? Las Cruces. Actually, you guys. Oh my gosh. My dad took a picture of me when I was a baby, at the world's biggest chili. That's in Las Cruces, New Mexico. It's at the Motel
Oh,
6. You know what I'm talking
really?
about? Yeah, the big
I didn't
chili.
even know that
It's
that
on
was a
Picacho. Dude, yes, you're gonna remember this. As soon as I show you, you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah." Do you remember this
yeah,
picture?
yes, I've seen it. I just didn't know it was like a world record. That's so cool though.
Yes, my dad would be like, "Yeah, we're moving to Las Cruces, where the big
Yeah.
chili's at." And I was like, I
That
was
doesn't
like, I don't
mean
wanna.
anything to me.
Yeah, also the largest, you guys are gonna be like, what the heck? Also aliens, just kidding. I know I'm very passionate about
Yeah.
the aliens. Just kidding. The largest pistachio, Jenny, did you know
Oh,
that this is
yes,
now Las
I've seen that
Cruces?
many
But
times.
Alamo,
I
we have
know.
the
Where
the
is
world's
it? Yeah,
largest for everyone. Alamo Gordo. We just have
you
we're also
know,
home to Hatch Green Chili. It's
we
famous.
just like to supersize our food. They're like, we need more. See,
Yeah,
I like these
yeah, that's
enchiladas,
funny.
but what? See, I want to know what the conversation was whenever Roberto was like, you know what? What if this enchilada was like 20 feet?
We
Like,
need a
that's just
world
crazy to me.
record. I feel like it's
But,
just
go
oh
him.
god.
I think that's so cool. They need to bring it back. I know Roberto can't make it anymore. It's like, it was a lot of work. I've seen it being made. It's freaking crazy. But, like, somebody needs to do it. Okay. So, last few things we're going to wrap up before we move on because we've been talking about this for quite a while. I didn't even realize how long of an episode this is going to be, but we're getting in. We're on like 46 minutes
We're
already.
doing it.
So, yeah. I do want to talk about a few like cool local spots because that is one of the things that I absolutely love about Las Cruces. They are very robust with their community. Their farmers market is like blowing up. Every time I go, it's bigger
Mhm.
and bigger. But like really cool coffee shops. There's Milagros. Val, do you remember? I
Mhm.
can't remember the name of that one that we went to. Excuse me, whenever I visited in like 2021, it's like
You're
wind
gonna be so
chimes or
sad.
Is it
It's closed
closed?
down, but it was Spirit Winds. Yeah, it's close. But that was such a vibe, especially for the college
I'm
community.
leaving.
Like that was the spot. Yeah,
Oh, that
I know.
sucks.
Spirit Winds was such a vibe. RIP, RIP.
Dang. I know.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, aside from lots of cool local mom and pop places to go to, there's lots of hiking trails, as we mentioned earlier, lots of restaurants, just
Mhm.
lots of unique culture. So if you ever want to go to Mexico without actually going to Mexico, just go to Las Cruces, New Mexico. Like you'll have a fun time.
Mhm.
I'm gonna rate it like a 7 out of 10. I would say like it's cool. Overall vibes are good, but I still get that little big town like vibe whenever I go there. I don't know, maybe it's
Mhm.
just because every time I go, I haven't been there in a while, so everybody wants to catch me up on the chisme, but I'm just sometimes I'm like over it and I'm just
Mm.
like, oh, let's like talk about
Mm.
positive things, you guys, you know?
Let me see. Yeah, I would give it an 8 out of 10 because you are like kind of in a sweet spot where you can go to El Paso and you're like in
Yeah.
driving distance and you can go to Albuquerque. Also, you get the hiking trails, you get like the commodity of being in a city, but it's a small city. Um,
Mhm.
but you're not, yeah, like you're not like in a super huge city where like it's overwhelming and you like want to run away.
Yeah.
Like the pace of life is still pretty slow where it's not super bad like El Paso
Yeah.
traffic and like yeah, so it's nice. It's nice. You get to go to
Yeah.
Mesilla if you get tired. Yeah.
You do kind of
So
get the
I would
best of both
say 8 out of
worlds.
10. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like sometimes growing up, there wasn't a lot to do growing up. Now there is,
Oh
but growing up I
yeah.
was
Now
like,
there is. I know.
mhm.
We would get in a lot of well, I don't know about Val. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't that crazy. I was gonna say we would get in a lot of trouble, but like I really wasn't that crazy till college. But sometimes I think back and I'm just like we would go to like bonfires in the desert.
Mhm.
Like,
Yes.
y'all weren't
In
worried about,
somebody's
like,
truck.
wildfires? Like, we're drinking and there's a bonfire,
Yeah.
and, like, what if somebody gets drunk and, like, gets stranded out in the desert and left behind? You know what I mean? Like, I just that was crazy. I can't believe I
Yeah.
experienced some of those things.
Yeah, but I feel like there's like I don't know. Yes, yes, Jenny. Yes, you're right. Because I was thinking about this too the other day. I feel like shout out to our generation, to our youth, because I feel like we really had to like be I don't want to say be sneaky about this,
Resourceful.
but now like you can see people's location or like you could track the
Yeah,
car. Like where is
that's
the car? Let
true.
me see where the car's at. And it's just like I just had to be like, yeah, mom, I'm gonna go hang out with Jenny in the desert.
Yes.
And we just
Yeah.
like our friends drove trucks and then we just put it in like four-wheel drive, went out there and then came back out and we all had to be like modest about it. Like we couldn't act the fool because we had to go home, we had to
Yeah.
be like, "Oh yeah, how was the party? How was?" It was like it was great. It was fun. It was good. And like you had to
Yeah.
like party but not get too crazy because if you came home full of dirt, they'd be like, "Where were you? Where did you go?" Just,
Yeah. That's
does
so
that make
true.
sense?
Yeah, no. No, that's crazy. And like really, I feel like all we had were like the movies and the bowling alley, and that was it. And then like restaurants. But even okay, so this is the
Mhm.
other thing too. So Val and I, we went to high school at Oñate, which is now called Oregon Mountain
Mhm.
High School. And the Oregon Mountain kids have no idea. They have no idea what it was like to go to school. And I'm sure it was worse like whenever the school was first built. But going to that high school in 2010 was so rough whenever it was lunch period. Because if you ever wanted to go off campus for lunch, you had to haul ass to the
Mhm.
Pickwick and
Mhm.
go get your Santa Fe Grill burrito and then haul
Mhm.
ass back and eat it in the car, like stuffing your face. Or sometimes we would even like risk it and go to like Sam's Club just for like a slice of
Mhm.
pizza or like a hot dog or something. Same thing. You're like eating in the car. You're not even enjoying your lunch. You just wanted to have something different for lunch that day. And then you would get into the parking lot and you would sprint to class. It was just
Mhm.
crazy. But now they have like all kinds of restaurants. Or
Mhm. They do.
we did have the McDonald's that was right next door, but it was just like we didn't want McDonald's. We always we could go there whenever, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember this, but at our high school, the security guards, we had four-wheelers. I don't know if you remember this, but it's because
Huh?
sometimes people would go ditch class and they would go into the
Yeah.
desert. And so imagine you're ditching class and then like the security comes in like a four-wheeler because there's like hills and valleys and there's like like just like,
I
dude, we
didn't
were
know
in the
that.
country.
No, I
We were
wasn't that crazy. What I would do though is I would get into people's trunks.
Oh my
Whenever we
God.
so when you're a freshman, you can't go off campus. So I would
Hmm.
like go into people's trunks and then they would like pull over at like some random spot and then I would go into like the front and we would go to their house for lunch or whatever. That's
Hmm.
crazy, dude. That is
It is
crazy.
crazy. It is crazy. But we were all good kids. Like that's what I'm saying. Like we were
Yeah,
really
we
good
just
kids.
wanted
But
lunch.
this generation, we just wanted lunch, not from the cafeteria. But like this generation, I don't want to say y'all could never, but like you guys got an app where you know everybody knows
Yeah.
your business. Does that make sense? It was just
Yeah.
I feel like we lived in a sweet spot where like technology isn't what it was. There was still some lure. You could still go missing
Yes.
for a few hours. You could still go
It was still possible.
Yeah.
No, dude, you know what I just randomly thought about when we were talking about lunch? Do you remember the hot dog guy?
Yeah.
In the parking lot, there was just like a random
Mhm.
guy who would come and like sell hot dogs in the parking lot of our school. And he wouldn't come all the
Yeah.
time. He would only come on some days and we'd be like, "Heck yes, we're going to go get a hot dog with some hot
Yeah.
Cheetos."
Or this lady, she just had a van and she just had pizza in the back of her van. And like,
What? I don't
do
remember
you remember
that.
that? Yes,
No.
she had a green
That's
van and
so
she just pop
funny,
it open and there
dude.
was boxes.
You know
And I was
what?
just
Good
like,
for
this lady just
them. They
went.
were hustling.
They were hustling.
That's so
They
smart.
were. Yeah. El hot dog man. That's
Yeah,
funny.
wherever you are, we love you. He's probably still selling hot dogs at Oñate, let's be real.
Yo,
Or
that's
Organ Mountain.
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang.
Oh,
Hmm.
man.
That's
Okay.
funny.
Wow, that was a trip down memory lane. If my mom
Hmm.
is listening to this, I'm 30, okay? Like, I can start telling these stories now.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else? Now, I'm gonna start talking about Orlando.
No, I'm good. I'm good. My people from Las Cruces, I love you. I love you.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Okay. All right. So at this point, we've talked about Las Cruces. Val and I
Mhm.
was there at 8, Val was there at 9, and I
Mhm.
end up leaving Las Cruces at 20 years old. So the story of how I decided to leave. I knew I always wanted to like get out of Las Cruces. I just didn't really know where I wanted to go. But I was working at Applebee's in Las Cruces as my first job. I was a hostess. And there
Mhm.
was one night where everybody was closing and we were rolling silverware before leaving. And there was this girl who worked there and we were just bored. We were like talking about signatures or something like that. And so we all started drawing our signature on a napkin. And I like showed it to everybody and she was like, "Oh my God, that's such a pretty signature." And I was like, "Thank you." And she was like, "It looks like a princess signature." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." And she was like, "And I would know because I used to be a princess at Disney World." I was like, "Girl, be real. What are you talking about?"
Mhm.
That's not true. And she was like, "No, really. Like I did this thing called the Disney College program and you can work at Disney World for like a few months and then if you want, you can get like internship credits or whatever, da 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 da." And I was like, "What?" So she shows me her Instagram, and sure enough, like she has all these pictures of her being friends with like the princesses, Aurora, Cinderella, so on and so forth. And I was like, "Oh my God, like what? That is so cool." So at this point, I'm like 18 years old. I'm like, "Oh man, like maybe one day, but that is so freaking cool. Like I can't believe you did that." So then fast forward a few years, I was dating a few different guys. All of them were kind of long-term relationships and this one guy that I was with, wish him nothing but the best. I don't even know if he will like if he's watching this or if he would even know that I'm talking about him. But he was pretty emotionally immature. And so I decided it was time for me to just be single. At that point, I had not been single since I was like 14 years old. I was just going from relationship to relationship. And so I decided to take a break from dating and just be by myself. And then randomly one night I thought about the Disney College program and I was like, "You know what? I'm going to force myself to be single because I'm going to apply for this. Like, just on a whim, I'm just going to apply for this. I'm not tied to anybody. Like, this is how I can leave Las Cruces. Like, I'm just going to do it. So I apply, and a few weeks later, I got an email saying that I was accepted to the Disney College program. I want to say, like, now looking back, I wouldn't necessarily describe it as like an internship, because really you can only get internship credits unless you're like in a hospitality major or I'm trying to think like the restaurant business or like that kind of a thing. But I was getting my degree in psychology. So really I was just going for the experience of getting out of my hometown and like working at freaking Disney World. Like, that sounded amazing to me. And so whenever I filled out the application, they ask you to choose like you'll get assigned to either or if you are open to it, but they ask you to prioritize. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be adventurous. I'm going to select Orlando. I don't have any interest in moving to Orlando or being in Orlando, but I've already been to Disneyland. So like, why not go to Disney World and just experience something new? So
Mhm.
that's the one I got selected for. And then as you get selected, like, I start joining Facebook pages and like talking to people and like finding out, where people are from, like when they got selected, like when is the new like information coming out, because they release the information in phases, like where you work or where you're going to live and things like that. And then there was also this Facebook group for people who were looking for roommates. So the way that you do it, you kind of just like start randomly banding together. And so people will kind of make it's kind of funny because it's kind of like Tinder if you think about it, but people would like make these like profiles on themselves, and it would just be like, hey, my name is Jenny. I'm this many years old. I like this, and this. This is my favorite color. This is what I like to do in my free time. I would classify myself as like a clean person, da 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 da. And then people will start commenting under your, post and being like, hey, like I'd be interested in rooming with you. Like, can we start talking? So then you would start talking with people, and then like if they feel like you would be a good fit for a roommate, then like you start kind of grouping together. I can't remember if I was like somebody who posted, or if I think I might have done both, to be quite honest. Like, I think I posted myself, but I think I ended up finding somebody else who already posted. And then the girl who had already posted, she already had like 3 roommates, and they were just like looking for a 4th one. So then I think, or no, I'm sorry. They were looking for a 5th one because I think that was the minimum you could do. We didn't want that many. You could have up to 8 roommates. I don't know how yeah, it's
Right.
crazy. So anyways, I met some people, and then I go on the Disney College program, and then that's where I ended up meeting my fiance. At that point, I had been, single for about like 9 months. So I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to get back into the dating world. And little did I know it would be the first person back in the dating world. And then lived there for 9 months on the college program, went back to Cruces for another semester. And then I did the Disney College program summer alumni program. So that one is only for people who have done the program before, and they literally only go for the summer. Once I was finished with that, then I went to North Carolina. So the reason I moved to North Carolina for 1 semester was because I was able to finish my last semester online, and my fiance, or my now fiance, he had 1 more semester left at school, and he went to ECU. So that's in Greenville, North Carolina, which I can touch on a little bit later, which will be super brief because, again, I only lived there for like 1 semester. And then once we both graduated from college, we decided to move to Orlando long term. So we moved there in 2019. We were both 23 years old at the time, and we lived there all the way until 2024. So yeah, aside from my history, I mean, obviously Orlando is the theme park capital. There's Disney World, there's Universal, which I was very privileged enough to be able to get like an annual pass. So I went there all the time. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter, lots of fun stuff. There's year-round warm weather, which I had a love-hate relationship with. I feel like in the winter, I definitely miss it because I wish I had like I don't know, just a break. But whenever
Mhm.
it's the middle of the summer here in Tennessee, I'm like, "Oh no, I do not miss Florida." I know it's like feeling like 100 plus humidity and I could not do that right now. So like,
Mhm.
yeah. Other things Florida is known for is Florida Man,
Mhm.
funny headlines like that. I know that always sends me memes about Florida. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, I've been pretty lucky not to experience anything too crazy. Like I don't really witness anything. I have seen a gator before.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have any other like questions for me. That's just kind of like the story and the breakdown.
No, I remember one time we were talking about Florida and Florida culture, and Florida is Spanish for flower, like Florida,
Florida.
because it was
Mhm.
it was under Spanish occupation, like that was a
Mhm.
Spanish territory. So a lot of things are in
Yeah.
Spanish. But I remember there's like a Pirates of the Caribbean movie where they're like in Florida or they're talking about they reference Florida, and Jenny was saying like, yeah, I feel like Florida was one of those places that everybody was fighting over, and pirates would just come hang out here, and that really didn't change. Like Florida, like there are still crazy people that look like
Yeah.
pirates. And you're like, there'll be a dentist, and next to the dentist, there'll be like a strip club, and then there'll be like a yacht club, and you're just like, everybody, like Florida is just crazy like that. And I think
Yes.
it always was.
But it's like such a vibe too. It's like the most chaotic collection of people, but they all just get along somehow. And I mean I've mentioned it on multiple episodes before of how I think it really is a melting pot because there are so many cultures of people who live there. But that was one of the things that I loved about living in Florida because whenever you go to a specific restaurant, so if you're going to like a Brazilian restaurant, Puerto Rican restaurant, Cuban, Haitian or so on and so forth, you're like, okay, I know the food here is going to be bomb because this
Hmm.
whole state is like nothing but people from other lands. So it's cool because
Hmm.
you're going to get like really authentic food. I would even say like I'm pretty critical about Mexican food and I wish that it was more like New Mexican food because that's what I grew up with. However, Florida definitely has Tennessee beat when it comes to Mexican food. So, um,
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do miss it in a lot of ways. I would definitely go back, but I would probably live in like the Tampa area which
Hmm.
is like, I don't know. The thing that stresses me out, and this is one of the reasons why I moved away, was because of the traffic. The traffic is so scary. Like, you literally feel like you're fighting for your life on I-4. And I know that that's how it would be if I ever lived in Tampa, but I
Hmm.
just feel like being close to the beach would feel more like aligned with what I would want because Orlando, it's close enough. Like, you're only 2 hours from the beach, each way, but you have to make it like you have to carve out your entire day. And then by the time you get
Hmm.
home, you're going to be exhausted because you have 2 hours to drive home after being in the hot sun all day. Well, pros and cons.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I miss it. I will say I miss it. I do want to go visit soon cuz I'm having withdrawals for sure. Yeah. I would say if I had to rate it, because I forgot we were doing this little rating thing, I would say like 9 out of 10. Yeah. Even though there's like, a lot of cons, I would say it's a like premium vibe state. So, yeah.
Premium Vibe State.
Okay. I've yapped long enough. Val,
Okay.
tell us about Washington. How did you get there? Why are you there?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll tell you guys. So actually, yes. The lower. Oh, I remember Jenny and I, we'd hang out a lot, and by this time, like both of us are going to college. We have a few classes together. She goes and she does the Disney College program. She comes back with a boyfriend, and then he comes and visits, and then they're in North Carolina, and then they come back. Well, she comes back, and we have a few of those classes, and we have this conversation of like, have you thought about moving out of like our hometown? And I was like, yes, I absolutely have. I just feel like I have unfinished business. And I remember vividly
Like
saying
a
that word, like,
ghost?
yes, yes. I'm like, I just have unfinished business here. And at that time, I don't think people understand how much taekwondo was like a part of my life, but I did this since I was 4. I practiced taekwondo in Mexico City, then like I moved here, and that was the first thing they did was like put me in martial arts again. And so it was just kind of like it's so deep into like who I am, and at the time, ex-boyfriend at the time, he was actually part of the Army Taekwondo team. So he was already on a team. I was a
Mm.
cadet at NMSU ROTC, and I was trying to figure out how I could like get on the Army Taekwondo team, and I was getting injured, and things just weren't going my way. Like they weren't going my way in terms of like getting on a freaking team, on like getting back on tournaments because I kept getting injured. And so I was like, I think I just need to focus on school. And I was like, you know what? That's the thing keeping me here is school. And so then I finished up my degree, and then right away I started getting my master's, and I've talked about how I don't like, I'm happy I did it. I'm proud of myself, but it's not, I wasn't aligned. It's not what I should have been doing. And so then
Mhm.
Jenny and I, we have a few conversations. During this time, I am traveling a lot. I'm going to Arizona, California, Colorado, fill in the blank. And both Jenny and I are like, you know what, Colorado would be a great place to live in. And I'm like, yes. So during this time, before Jenny moves to Knoxville, um, she's like, we should move to Colorado. And I'm like, yes, we should. We should do it. And then that kind of falls through. And during this time, I'm like dating again, and I meet my now husband, and we kind of talk, and we're friends for like about a year. And Jenny knows this. Nobody knows what I'm doing except Jenny and Angela. Everybody else, they don't know what I'm doing. Only Jenny and Angela, and now my husband. But I remember I've been talking to this guy for like a year, and we're just friends. And I think as it should be, because I don't know this dude. Like, I can't just move with this guy, but we're just talking. And then eventually, like, I go visit him in Washington, D.C. He's in Maryland. He's doing some school. And I come back and I'm like, Jenny, you know what? I'm gonna just shoot my shot with this guy and just figure out where it goes. He's like, hey, I'm really into you. I'm gonna move to Washington State. Do you want to come with me? And I'm like, I don't want to do long distance. I'm kind of tired of that. I feel like I've exhausted New Mexico and like Las Cruces. Like, I've gotten my fix. Like, I know exactly every street, every road, every like, I feel like I'm a fucking tour guide. Like, I know everything about where I live. And so I'm like, yeah. So I talked to my dad about it. And my dad, obviously, we've moved around a lot. And he's like, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? And I'm like, I move back. And he's like, and do you love it here? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Like, I could have a life here. Like, I do love it here. And he's like, so if things don't work out, the worst thing is you move here. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, if you move up there and things don't work out, is someone gonna die? I'm like, no. And he's like, all right, like, the worst thing that could happen is you move here, you move back. And that's not the worst thing in the world. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, so then you should go hoping for the best. I'm like, what's the best thing that could happen? And I was like, well, I, things work out with this guy. I travel to a bunch of places, see new things, try new foods, learn more about myself, like push myself out of like my comfort box. Yeah. And he's like, all right, well, then you should go there hoping for the best. And if the worst thing happens, you just move back. And I was like, it's pretty legit. It's pretty right.
Yeah.
So then I did. I moved to Washington State. I first arrived at Tacoma and moved there with my boyfriend at the time. Also, when this happened, I feel like a lot of people were like, who is this person? Like, we never knew you were talking to this person. And I'm like, you don't know. Jenny knows. Angela knows.
Yeah.
But no one knows what I do except for them two. So then I feel like I had Jenny's blessing, I had Angela's blessing, and I was like, all right, here we go. So then a year after being there, no, I think 6 months into being there, I think both of us kind of knew. And I think that was my timeline too. It's like, if this isn't working out, I'm not going to waste my time, and I'm not going to be here for 3, 4 years and not know if we're in it or not. So then 6 months into being there, he like popped the question, and I was like, yeah, like, I do see my life with you. And so then I got engaged like 6 months into being there. And then I think 6 months later we got married. And then now I'm almost done here in Washington. Like, I'm almost about to leave again. So my next destination will hopefully be Colorado. And now I'm embracing this lifestyle of like living in the military and like what it's like, which is different than the way
Mhm.
that I grew up, because a lot of people travel because of the
Mhm.
military and their parents. My dad was an architect, and that's how we traveled until he wasn't, and then we settled in Las Cruces, New Mexico. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm here, Jenny. Love.
I love like hearing your love story, and then I don't know, I was getting like all sentimental while I was listening to you because you were talking about like worst case scenario versus best case scenario. Like, well, I would, travel and learn new things about myself and this and that and da da da. And I'm just like, she did that. She did that. Like, that
Yeah.
makes me so
Yeah.
happy. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, I do want to dive in a little deeper into Washington because I know it
Mhm.
hasn't been your most favorite, but there's also a lot of beautiful
Mhm.
things about it, like,
Yeah.
PNW. Gorgeous, okay?
Mhm.
Lush
Yes.
rainforests. We got Seattle. We got coffee culture.
Mhm.
We got the
Mhm.
Seattle International Film Festival. However, there are some
Mhm.
cons. So I'm curious to hear you speak about those things or the pros too. I'll talk about all
Yes.
of it.
As Seattleans, Washingtonians, everybody tune in. Yeah, so pros, the food, like the seafood is so fresh. It is so good. It is delicious. I love it. It is
Mhm.
great. Coffee, I think I've had some of the best coffee ever in the world. I don't know. I feel that way also when I go to Mexico because Mexico is actually a big producer of coffee
Mhm.
and they get a lot of Colombian coffee and like Colombian coffee, it
Oh.
wakes you up. It is
Yeah.
like
It's like
it's
crack.
you guys should try it. It's like, "What am I drinking?" You're awake for days. So, yeah, but I've had some amazing coffee here in Washington. The culture, also just the food that you can get. So I think where Jenny and I are so used to having really good, authentic Mexican food, here you get some really delicious sushi, some delicious ramen, Korean culture, Hawaiian, like, it's just so good, like, I feel so spoiled, like, it is absolutely amazing and delicious. Some of the things I've experienced, I feel like here sometimes the culture can be a little soft, like, in New Mexico or Las Cruces, it would be like, "Oh, she looked at me wrong." It's a little ghetto, but, like, I feel like the culture is, like, a little bit more tough. Here, the culture is very sensitive. I'm just like,
I
"Here,
find that
it's nice."
interesting, especially because of like how you were saying that it's unfriendly. Or like I know the other day you sent me a video about the Washington freeze or something like that, or the Seattle freeze.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
that's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, yeah, I think because it's so cold, sometimes people don't go outside. So yeah, there's the Washington freeze where like it's really freaking cold or it's raining all the time, so people are indoors. And then right now that it's springtime, summertime, like people are starting to go out and you're just like, "Whoa, people, where have you guys been?"
I don't
So
know
I
how to
think a lot of
interact.
like yeah, so there's definitely those differences. However, I will say that Seattleites, people in Seattle, I know I say like Hispanic culture can be a little bit more tough. Like I say like Chicano, not Mexican, like Chicano, but Seattleites, like Seattle is wild. Like I've seen some wild stuff in Seattle. Like I'm just like, what is this city? Like I've seen crazy stuff, Jenny. I'm like, what am I experiencing right
It's
now?
like Florida,
And
man.
it's like Florida Man. And I know I am confident in my skills. Like I will fight someone. But in Seattle, I'm like, I would rather not. I don't want to touch you. I don't want you to touch me. Don't come close to me. Don't look at me. It's a different vibe. I'm like, Seattle
Uh,
people are tough. It's something else, man. It's just wild. But it's also
yeah.
beautiful. You're just like, what am I experiencing? Like you will see a beautiful sunlight and then you'll see like a fight. And then you'll see people walking around the fight. And
Like
you're
two
just like,
hobos
what
fighting.
is this? Yes! You're just like, what am I witnessing?
Ay, ay,
It
ay.
is wild.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, how about the vibes? Rock, I mean Nirvana, that's I think this is where they got started. It's just weird because you got like rock and then you got like coffee. Like it's weird. It's like you got rock and dim Twilight. It's like you got gloomy, but then you got coffee. It's like and
50
then
Shades of
Amazon is here
Grey.
and Boeing, 50 Shades of Grey. You're just like, what have I experienced? All of the vibes.
Yeah.
You're just experiencing everything. Great sushi. It's just like, whoa. I would say
Yeah.
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
Okay.
'Cause
All right.
the vibes are vibing. It's
That's
cold. If you
higher than
like
I
the cold,
thought.
this is yeah,
You're like, if you
it's
like the
cold.
cold.
If you
Okay,
like the cold.
Bella.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't like any
Bella,
cold,
yeah.
wet thing.
Yeah, but the nature is it's jaw-dropping. Yeah, sometimes I'll be driving and I'm like, "Wow, this is beautiful." As I'm in the car with
Yeah.
like what is it? Heater on and everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then I know, like, as you guys know, Val and I Snapchat each other almost every day. And she'll be like snapping me on her walks, and she's like, "Well, I did it. It's raining, but I did it, okay?" And I'm like, this poor girl, she
Yeah.
cannot get her fitness in because of the freaking weather.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like a
Oh,
weather
vitamin D.
her
Yes.
freaking hood on. She's like coming at you live, like on her walk,
Coming at you live.
like running through the rain.
Yeah. Um, vitamin D
Sorry, what'd you
deficiency,
say?
dude.
Yes, yeah.
Vitamin D deficiency. Yeah, you have to supplement. You guys, I'm tan, I'm brown. I need the sun, okay? The people need the sun. Um, dude, I
Oh.
went the first year that I was here, I got like depressed on and off. I remember my coach would call me. He's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Your posts don't look so happy." I think that's how people keep tabs of me. He's like, "Are you fine?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it was just rough. He's like, take your vitamin D, okay?" And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Jenny got me a lamp. You guys see that lamp?
I was
That's
thinking about that.
Jenny got me a lamp. I was like, I think
Literally in the
people were like
background.
concerned. Yeah, people were concerned for my
Yeah.
safety. They were like,
We
"Are
love
you
you.
doing okay?"
Blink once if you need help.
Blink once. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're
So
good. I
for
feel like
those
you've adjusted.
reasons, yes, it took a year, but yeah, I've
Yeah.
acclimated. Yeah.
My cheeks hurt from laughing so much.
Whew.
Okay. All right, friends. I know this is a long one. We have 1.5 segments to go. Okay. I'm just going to briefly talk a little bit about Tennessee. I know I've taken lots of your time, which, actually, before I continue, I need to stop complaining about that and being like, bringing attention to my yappiness. That's why I have a podcast. And if
Mhm.
you don't like it,
Exactly.
click out. Come back, but click out if you need to. Please come back. Okay, let's finish. So, briefly, we're going to talk about Tennessee. So, as I left off in my story, I ended up moving to Tennessee. Colorado is one of the places that I was considering, but y'all, that place is too expensive. Sorry, Val, because, yeah, Val's
It's
going
worse.
there. So, Kyle, my fiance, and I, we decided to kind of reevaluate and figure out where our next steps would be. My brother was able to get transferred out here for work, and so we had a conversation. We were like, maybe Tennessee. Came here, liked it, moved here. Woohoo, love it. So, as you guys know, Tennessee is very well known for its music heritage, lots of country music here. Big country scene in Nashville, blues, rock and roll in Memphis. I've only been to Nashville once for my bachelorette party. It was a time. There were pros and cons, but great, lots of fun stories for the grandchildren. So there's that. I live in East Tennessee, which is more well known for the Great Smoky Mountains. It is actually the most visited national park in the United States. And also, Tennessee is much known for its southern hospitality and growing craft brew scene. So, I do like living here in East Tennessee. Now that the winter is over, I am vibing again. My allergies are gone because spring is almost, on its way out, and I'm finally getting back into, feeling accustomed to the weather and stuff like that. So, I'm very excited for summer. I don't really like winter. Winter's just a little too long for me here, but aside from that, I do love it. Farmers market is amazing. Downtown is amazing. I know it's kind of basic, but I really do love Gatlinburg. So Gatlinburg's about 45 minutes away, and it's pretty touristy. There's a lot of like cabins there, hiking, zip lining. There's like a cute little like strip that you can go shopping and like get moonshine at and stuff like that. Dollywood's there, lots of water parks and stuff like that. And lots of cool trails. One of our favorites is Frozen Head, which is a little bit closer to Oak Ridge. So yeah, lots of fun things to do here, especially if you are into nature. And I would say the cost of living compares pretty well to the previous cities that I've lived. I mean, I wouldn't say it's as cheap as living in Las Cruces by any means, but yeah, I love it here, to be quite honest. I would rate it like maybe an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10, I would say.
Dang,
Um,
that's pretty high.
yeah, yeah, I like it here. I'm excited for Val to see it because Val's gonna come here for my wedding, so that'll
Yes.
be fun.
Yes.
And then our little bonus segment. So I did briefly mention North Carolina. Like I said, I only lived there for a semester, but I lived there during the fall time. So I was vibing pretty well because the trees were changing and fall is my favorite season. It is home to East Carolina University. So there's a lot of college. Well, I don't know about nowadays. I've heard the party scene has calmed down quite a bit. But when my fiance was going to college, it was pretty crazy. And I will say that is one of the regrets that I have is not actually exploring more of that because I don't know, we just didn't really take part in it and like we didn't really explore as much of the downtown area as I would have liked. I was going to say. And then there's a university nearby that is pretty like well known for it being like having a really good nursing and like doctoral program. So if you are
Mhm.
somebody who's like, you know, a residential doctor, you're probably going to be living in that area. And the only thing that I didn't really like about living there was that it was so like people are coming and going. Like it's not that many people who have like a really strong sense of community because it is just college students or it is people just kind of like passing through
Mm.
type of thing. But yeah, I worked at the Barnes and Noble there. Yeah, and I would say the other thing too is like it's kind of hard for me to say much about my experience there because I moved there a few months after my grandpa had passed away, so I was kind of depressed. Like I was excited because I was on my own like officially without the help of like an internship or anything like that, but I just remember feeling like really homesick and like just out of my element. It was like I don't know how to explain it. It was really good in a lot of ways and then like really scary in a lot of ways. But I wouldn't change it for the world. I would say if I had to rate it, it would probably be like a 6 out of 10. Not like too bad. I think it's, you know, it was a fun experience, but like it's just so small that there's really not much to say for it, you know? So,
Mhm.
yeah. So, okay. I mean, that's pretty much it. Those are all of the places that we have lived. Where are we going next? Because I know you're going somewhere next. I'll be here for a while, but where's
Yeah,
Val
so the
going
plan is
next?
to yeah, so the plan is to go to Colorado and be there for a while and then we'll figure out where to go next. I think ideally I want to have like a home base. Like I would love to go back to Texas. I did get to live in El Paso, like I said, Lubbock. So Texas just has like like a very like special place in my heart. So definitely would love to live in Texas and then after that I just want to go live, explore as much as I can abroad. Like I would even Jenny and I have talked about like it would be so cool to live abroad and like maybe live somewhere for 3 months and just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be in Italy for the next 3 months. But I really want to
Yeah.
manifest it. I'm gonna put it in this episode
Yes.
where like I just get to travel and live abroad as much as I can for as little as I can, like 2 weeks out of the year or fill in the blank, but home base be Texas. So I'm gonna manifest that. Yes. Yes, yes.
Yes. Awesome. Well, now that I've learned that you have lived in many other places, are there any other ones that you wanted to highlight or talk about?
No, I think I really feel like I embody what it means to be like Mexican American because I do feel like I am Mexican and I do feel like I am American. And I feel like sometimes my body just craves Mexico. Where I was telling Jenny, like, do you ever just crave like this kind of fruit? And I'm like, I feel like it's because it's in my DNA and it's in my culture. And like, I'm like, I just want a papaya or I just want a mango or I
Mm.
just want, and I want to share that with my friends and I want to share that with Troy and I do feel like sometimes I just need to go back and like be there for a while and then come back. I don't know. Do I have a
Yeah,
special
just get
place?
your
I don't
fix.
know. Yeah, I love traveling. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
What
I
about
feel like
you?
that's everything. I don't know. I mean, I could definitely use a trip home. Like that would be really lovely right now, especially because my grandma has dementia, so I would like to see her as she's like, you know, declining, unfortunately. But I really, really want to go to Florida. Like I've been craving it so much. I just miss it. Like I want to go to Disney. I watch Disney vlogs all the time. I want to go to the beach. I miss the beach, dude.
Mhm.
But in general, I want to go on a vacation, which, you know, I will get my honeymoon soon, so I need to
Mhm.
start planning that. But yeah, I miss the water. I haven't been to the beach in a really, really long time. So yeah.
Mhm.
All right, friends. Well, I think that is going to complete our episode today. We would love to know, where are you watching this from? Where have you lived before?
Mhm.
Have you lived in any of the places
Yeah.
that we talked about? What were your experiences? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What would your ratings be of these places if you've lived there? And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. As always, we're going to have our resources at the end screen of this video. Hopefully, we can start bringing on some guests soon because we haven't had a chance to do so yet, and we do have lots of ideas for people that we want to bring on. So, anything else to add before we go, Val?
No, other than just share where you guys are from, where you're watching, where you want to go, if we're in the same place. I don't know. Just let us know. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, we love you
Yeah.
guys. We hope you're staying safe. We haven't done a quote in a while. You can make it a great day
Yes.
or not.
Great day or not, the choice is yours.
Yes. All right,
Yeah.
friends. We
All
love
right.
you. We'll see you
Bye.
next